Bix a promo tweet with a political statement. As a result, Mark Platt flew to New York to speak with her in person.
Weird.
I'll quickly mention this. The son of Snow White producer Mark Platt, Jonah Platt is the son's name. He is speaking out publicly against Rachel Zegler and blaming her for the film's catastrophic failure at the box office.
Hollywood is no stranger to drama. In fact, it thrives on it. But sometimes, the drama that unfolds behind the scenes can be more gripping than what we see on screen. And right now, the story of Rachel Zegler's career seems to be spiraling out of control. Once dubbed a rising star, her time in Hollywood is now facing a significant crisis, and the fallout could be more severe than many people expected. The latest news is that Zegler, who was cast in the indie drama She Gets It From Me alongside Oscar-winning actress Marissa Tomei, may have her role recast in the middle of filming. That's not just rare, it's catastrophic. The production team's internal sources have hinted that, as of now, the studio is considering a full recast as they deal with her increasingly problematic behavior on set. To understand why this is such a big deal, we need to take a step back. This film was supposed to be Rachel Zegler's comeback. After the backlash she faced over her role as Snow White, this indie drama was meant to help re-establish her credibility and showcase her as a serious actress, someone who could take on grounded, character-driven roles, separate from the fairy tale image that had become a part of her public persona. Marissa Tomei, a seasoned Oscar winner, was meant to anchor the project, with Zegler playing her daughter. It was supposed to be a picture-perfect scenario for a fresh start, but instead, it has become an embarrassing debacle for Zegler. According to multiple sources close to the production, things started going wrong almost from the beginning.
Rachel Zegler just keeps making things worse with the Walt Disney Company. The more that she tries to defend this movie, the more that she tries to spew her agenda onto the general public, it's only making matters worse. Not just for Bob Iger, but for whatever is left of the image of Disney as a whole.
Jonah Platt, whose father helped produce the latest Snow White film, had some very harsh words for star Rachel Zegler.
For context, Variety wrote a report recently titled "Inside Disney's Snow White Fiasco: Death Threats, Beefed Up Security, and a Social Media Guru for Rachel Zegler." Evie Magazine wrote on X, "When you compare how Rachel Zegler spoke about Snow White to how other actresses who played live-action Disney princesses spoke about their character, really underlines just how poorly she carried herself."
Zegler, rather than stepping into her role with professionalism, reportedly exhibited behavior that made her an increasingly difficult presence on set. She was frequently late to set, often leaving other actors and crew members in a state of uncertainty about whether they could even begin the day's work. But worse than that were the rumors of her clashing with the director, Julia von Heinz. According to insiders, Zegler would openly challenge the direction of the film and question decisions about the storyline, often offering unsolicited opinions on how the plot could be altered. It's been said that she frequently rolled her eyes at blocking instructions and argued with the director in front of the crew, a move considered by some as not only disrespectful but also unprofessional. Zegler's behavior reportedly took a more egregious turn when she started pushing for more screen time and more dramatic lines. The character she played was not the lead. Tomei's role as the mother was supposed to take center stage, but Zegler allegedly did everything in her power to shift the focus onto her own character. Multiple sources have claimed that she asked for rewrites, making demands for more emotional moments.
On her love story, with a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird. And then it became like, I will elbow everyone out of the way to play the part. That people will assume is a love story just because like we cast a guy in the movie.
Right.
Andrew Burnap, all of Andrew's scenes could get cut. Who knows? It's Hollywood, baby.
I say, if I'm going to stand there 18 hours in a dress of an iconic Disney princess, I deserve to be paid for every hour that it is streamed on.
More lines, and more complex story arcs that were never part of the original script. This kind of behavior is rare even in seasoned actors, but it was a blatant move from Zegler to elevate herself at the expense of the entire production. The drama didn't stop there. Zegler's on-set behavior is said to have become a major source of tension for her co-stars. One of her key co-stars reportedly walked off set at one point, disillusioned with the environment that had been created. Crew members, who usually work long hours in the background, were said to have been dreading their shifts due to Zegler's disruptive presence. It was reported that some crew members tried to avoid having to interact with her, even requesting to rotate in shifts just so they wouldn't have to deal with her directly. This level of animosity on set is almost unheard of, especially for someone at the level of Zegler. It's not just unprofessional, it's toxic, and it's the kind of behavior that can seriously damage a career in Hollywood. And when confronted about her behavior, Zegler's response didn't help the situation. Instead of showing remorse or acknowledging any missteps, she allegedly played the victim card. One report claims she told studio heads that she was being sabotaged, that the crew was undermining her, and that their hostility was negatively affecting her energy and performance. This, in itself, is a major red flag. In an industry where egos run high and tempers are easily flared, blaming the crew rather than taking responsibility for her actions only further alienated her from those around her. To make matters worse, her public persona was only adding fuel to the fire. Anyone who has followed her career knows that Rachel Zegler isn't shy about sharing her thoughts, whether on social media or in interviews. But in recent months, she has made headlines not for her acting, but for her controversial opinions and inflammatory remarks. One of the most talked about moments occurred during a livestream where she openly mocked critics and brushed off any negativity directed her way. She reportedly said something along the lines of "I don't care," and this attitude only worsened her relationship with the Hollywood elite. Many believe that this sense of defiance, while perhaps well-meaning in her mind, came off as arrogant and immature, especially in an industry that values humility and collaboration. It wasn't just the on-set antics or social media posts that led to Zegler's downfall, though. As the production progressed, the backlash reached a new level. Sources close to the production have revealed that Zegler's PR team tried to salvage her image with the usual crisis management tactics, issuing an apology, offering explanations for her behavior, and suggesting that she needed some time to work on her mental health. But in a twist that only added to the controversy, Zegler reportedly rejected these suggestions. She refused to apologize publicly or acknowledge that she had made any mistakes. Instead, she doubled down on her behavior, even posting videos on TikTok where she openly called herself double the trouble. This approach, while seen as empowering to some of her fans, only served to reinforce the perception that Zegler was more interested in her own image than in repairing her relationships within the industry. The fallout has been swift and unforgiving. A major fashion brand that had previously endorsed her has already dropped her, citing her recent behavior as a liability. Several big-name directors and casting agents have reportedly expressed reluctance to work with her in the future, with some even seeking clauses in their contracts that would protect them from the possibility of being forced to collaborate with her. The worst part? Studios and filmmakers are now openly calling her a risk. This kind of stigma can follow an actor for years, making it harder for them to secure roles in high-profile projects. It's one thing to be labeled difficult, but to be labeled unreliable? That's a career killer. And then there's the issue of her legal standing. Sources have claimed that Zegler's social media activity is now under the scrutiny of studio lawyers. The livestream where she mocked critics could potentially violate non-disparagement clauses in her contract, and this kind of public defiance against the industry might open the door to even more legal complications down the road. Crew members, too, have allegedly started speaking to journalists off the record, discussing how toxic the environment became. It's not just a case of an actress behaving poorly. It's a situation where the very core of the production is being jeopardized by her presence. Behind the scenes, the studio is scrambling to figure out how to salvage the project. While they won't confirm it publicly, the word recast is being whispered in hushed tones. Even before Zegler's behavior escalated, there were talks about rewriting the script, and now, with the possibility of a recast looming, producers are preparing for the worst. And make no mistake, if Zegler is replaced in the role, it could be a signal to other actors that Hollywood is no longer willing to tolerate problematic behavior from rising stars, no matter how big they seem. At the end of the day, this whole saga serves as a stark reminder of just how cutthroat Hollywood can be. The industry loves a Cinderella story, but when that story is tarnished by diva behavior, questionable decisions, and unprofessionalism, the industry is quick to cut its losses. Rachel Zegler was once seen as a fresh face with the potential to become a massive star. Now, she's on the verge of becoming a cautionary tale, a reminder of how quickly things can unravel when an actor lets their ego take over. In a town built on reputation, trust, and collaboration, Zegler's current trajectory is a warning. It's clear that if she wants to stay in Hollywood, she'll have to make a dramatic shift in how she handles her career and the people she works with. But for now, the studios have made one thing clear: they're done waiting. The question is, will Rachel Zegler recognize the severity of her situation in time to salvage what's left of her Hollywood career?